Hey, so if you just took your money out of the stock market trying to avoid the total obliteration that it looked like it was doing in the past week or two, you may be wondering, what do I do with all this money that I have right now? How can I put my funds into something relatively more stable, right? If that's you, you can keep watching. All right. If you don't know me, my name is Chia Gazier Fawale. I am a pediatric anesthesiologist who loves to chat real estate. This is what I do in my spare time, and the lack of spare time, I still get to do my real estate business. So, right, let's get right into it. If you're thinking that real estate may be something you would consider, well, here are some ways you can participate in the I'll say relative stability, or at least long term growth that we get to see in real estate. The first one will be to just take the time to learn how to invest in real estate. All right. So what will that look like? That will be, reading books. Okay. Some examples of books will be things like Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a long time favorite. It'll be webinars on real estate. Like I have mine. It's my Simply Start webinar that I'll leave a link down in the in description. You can also listen to podcasts. I personally love the Bigger Pockets podcast and the Millennial Real Estate Investor podcast. Those are really good ones. And if you choose to listen to the Millennial Real Estate Investor podcast, make sure you get episode 76 because that's where I was featured. Definitely had a lot of fun chatting about my experience so far in real estate. Anyway, sidetracked. All right, number two thing that you can do. Oh, before I get to number two. So, with the first one about learning, you have to take an active role in your learning, okay? Real estate is one of those things that seems so easy, and fundamentally it is easy, but if you make mistakes, it can be a nightmare, okay? So, I am trying to save you from the undue nightmare that real estate can become, okay? And allow you to tap more into the upside that you can have in real estate. Number two, number two thing that you can do with the money that you just pull out of the stock market is to find someone who is actively investing and who has done so for the last couple of years and offer to partner with them on their deals. Okay, now what does that look like? Sometimes people are looking for equity partners. Equity partners are people that will share in the risk and share in the reward. So, for example, let's say you have someone who's trying to buy, a four family property and they don't have all the cash, but you have cash, but you don't know how to do the deals. You can go in as a cash partner and maybe own, say, 50% of the deal, right? So that they bring in their expertise, they bring in their systems, they run the deal, they maybe even get the mortgage and all, but then you go in, bring in the cash and they bring their own portion. And at the end of the day, together, if there's a profit, you make a profit and split that profit in 50-50 ratios with the deal sponsor, okay? The friend or the family member who you're partnering with. Now that's an equity partnership. So you actually own with them, that deal however you guys choose to structure it. People can choose to structure their deals however they like. All right. But the third way that you can work with people, or that you can participate in real estate, is as a lender on said friend's deal. So there are people who are active investors who, say they either flip houses or they just buy and hold, and they may not have cash for all the deals that they're getting. Well, if you decide that, I don't know enough about real estate to be able to say, to take on a full equity partnership risk where I share in the reward, but I also share in the risk, right? Like I mentioned in number two. In this case, I want a guaranteed return on my money. Like, I'm okay with just a guaranteed return. In that case, you can serve as a lender, a straight up lender, where you lend your money to the deal sponsor or the deal owner, because in this case you don't actually own the deal, you're just lending towards the deal. And what you do in that case is you decide on what interest rate you want as your return. I can tell you that in the private lending space, it goes anywhere from, interest rate, it depends on where you are. I've seen people who have done 6%, which I think, woo, wow, that's on the lower side. And I've seen even as high as 15%. Obviously everybody wants it to be higher, but if the person that you want to partner with can go to a private money lender down the street and get 8%, he wouldn't take your offer for 15%. percent. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that it will have to depend on what the deal, what the prevailing interest rate is in your area, because at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win for everyone. If that friend or family member has access to cheaper cash, they will go for cheaper cash, and you still have your cash in your hand looking for a high interest rate. But I'm just making sure that you know that these options are available to you. I have worked with people on deals in the past where I offered them, say, 10%. If the deal made sense for 10%, I'll do that. Now, how do you structure your lending partnerships? It could be as a secured more loan where you get a mortgage on the property, or it could be unsecured. For example, if someone is getting a property or whatever, and they're working with a bank for the whole purchase, for 80% of the purchase price, right? And then there's this 20% piece that they don't quite have all the cash for, and they're inviting you as a lender on that portion. Now, if you're demanding being the to hold it as a secured note, the bank may not even allow that transaction. All right, but if depending on your relationship with them, you may be willing to say, okay, this person is reliable enough that with a simple promissory note, you can lend them, but it has to be someone that you trust. If it's going to be unsecured, it better be someone that you like, where they live, how to find them, all of that. And the unsecured loans, generally, I would say, should get a slightly higher interest rate than a secured note. But the point is, in real estate, there are barely any boxes to think out of the box. I mean, there's so much that people can do, and if you want to participate, these are 3 ways that you can participate. The first one being you spend the time and actually learn how to do the deals yourself. Definitely a worthwhile investment. That's what I teach. I mean, I help people get started on their own deals. Number 2, you can partner with people who have existing deals, and just participate in equity, knowing that when you have equity in the deal, they don't owe you that money, right? You are doing the deal alongside them. So if the deal makes money, you share in the profit. If the deal loses money, you share in the losses. All right. Some people do something in between where they make you like a preferred partner and whatnot, and I won't go into all of that. But people structure their deals very differently. The key thing is make sure you understand exactly what your partnership involves. Ask them, is this an equity deal, or is it a lending type of partnership? Okay, and if it's a lending one, is this secured by the property, or is this unsecured? All right, so that you know exactly how much risk you're taking on when you're working with people. But whatever you're doing, it does not hurt to spend the time to understand how deals work, whether or not you did it yourself, for which I have my Simply Start webinar that you can just watch and just see how it happens. And you may decide, you know what, I can do this myself. I can surely do this myself. All right, guys. Hope you found some value in this. If you loved it, like, share, whatever, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, tell your people that, hey, real estate is happening right here, and we're not stopping for COVID and whatnot. All right, have fun. Have a good evening.